Absolutely. So the good news is that a lot of hospitals absolutely will hire EMTBs. And the reason behind it is that we have critical skills that they need. And a lot of them call them ERTs or ER techs or EDTs, which is ED techs. And we operate basically as an EMT inside of a hospital. Now, the difference with paramedics is that depending on what hospital system and what state and all of those nuances, you can actually operate at a higher level scope than maybe potentially if you were on an ambulance in that same state. So it really just kind of depends on, where you're going, what hospital system. There's a lot of nuances for the paramedics out there. But as far as EMTBs go, absolutely they will hire an EMTB. Most of the things that I've put out will hire EMTBs, to be fair. As far as like the pay goes, so $17.50, you will have to include that per diem in there. So when you ask for $17.50, you are actually going to also be seeing that per diem that's in that total, which would be $17.50, versus you getting $17.50 plus a stipend. Now, what I suggest, if your base level acceptance is $17.50, you need to then start looking for positions in which you can make more than $17.50. And because a lot of these places, it's hit or miss as far as like getting housing, because housing can be hit or miss, truly, and it really depends on like what type of contract you're picking up. If you're doing a hospital only contract and it's a smaller hospital, do not expect to get offered housing. I did it for a university and I didn't get housing. Things like that are really important to consider. And then if you are, right, say you get a contract that gives you $17.50 or more, you also have to make sure you're not going into a city that would then be more expensive. Because if you're going to a more expensive city, what would be good at home may not be actually good where you're going, because you're actually losing money in the long run. Another really good thing that you could do is that once you get there, you can find a person that you work with, or if you have a travel buddy and you're like, hey, we should do this together, see if you can both get that contract, and then you guys can travel together, and you guys can rent an apartment, like a short-term lease apartment, or do like an Airbnb thing together, and that'll save you money also. I know that was kind of a long-winded explanation, but I think that there are a lot of little things that people aren't looking at when they're looking at travel contracts. They see the money and then they don't think about all the other nuances that come along, and you could lose money, which none of us want to do. Literally, you're traveling because you want to make more money ultimately, and that's why when you're going on your Vivian or you're going into Indeed, read everything. Don't just look at the price and be like, oh, that's great. No, read everything, evaluate how you would be physically, mentally, emotionally, all of those things. Because especially as we're moving into winter, you're going to have these northern states coming in being like, hey, we need contractors because we don't have enough people. We're having more, issues, whatever. And so they'll pull people from the south. If you have never worked in snow, do not just go to a snowy city and expect to be cool, okay? That's a big thing to think about. And or if you're from the north and it's the dead of summer and you are going to Arizona, do not expect it to be the same type of summer. Expect a harsher summer. Sorry, I'm chewing gum. And, those things are important to think about when you are finding contracts. Again, I apologize for being so long-winded, but I promise you, if you get these little nuances down, finding the perfect contract for you will be so much easier, and you're not going to sit there and be concerned and worried if you're going to get offered the contract or not, because you'll be prepared.